introduce Tom Braviak, again, from the fire company to talk about where we're at.
It's not working. It's working. It's somewhat working. Okay. So good evening, everybody. Let me just first of all reintroduce myself to you. My name is Tom Braviak. I have to stand over here. It doesn't work over here, but it works over here. Okay. So, solutions, simple solutions to complex problems. So, what Randy asked me to do tonight, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Tom Braviak, as I said. I live at 8 Anna Terrace. For all of about a year and a half or so of my life, I've lived in Hanover Township. And I joined the Whippany Fire Company in 1976. My first official meeting in 1976 in the fire company was in May of that year. And I was impressed to hear that there was a standing committee in 1976 called the Relocation Committee, Whippany Fire Company. And it was tasked to try and locate a suitable place within Hanover Township, within the Whippany Fire District, to build a new firehouse. At that time, you may remember the Whippany Library was on the second floor of the firehouse on Route 10. And we had a tiny meeting room downstairs and room for barely to put 4 apparatus in the existing firehouse at the time. The biggest struggle that the Board of Fire Commissioners had at the time was buying trucks that would fit in a 10-foot, 6-inch high doors. In the 90s, you remember, we put on an addition. We tore down the addition that was put on in 1958 in the building that was built in 1923 and put an addition on to at least get the door heights up and add some square footage so we can add more modern apparatus. I'll fast forward you to 2008, because that's where we've lived since then, where this project that we're involved in today officially started. The Board of Fire Commissioners received voter approval in 2008 to sell their building that they were in, which is located at 434 Route 10. Some of you may remember it as Stewart's Law Office years ago. That's the facility. It was also the real estate office for some years. That's the building that the commissioners house their offices in today and where they hold their meetings. They received voter approval to sell that building and property to the Whippany Fire Company and to allocate the funds towards the construction of the new firehouse. So that's where we began. The fire company began at that time negotiating with a company called Vision Equities, which you may remember, who was courting the township to buy large parcels of land along Route 10 and develop what's known today as Whippany Village. Part of the plan was to get the Whippany Fire Company out of the middle of the project. And at that time, we were negotiating for a land swap agreement, which would have put the firehouse on a parcel of land owned by Whippany Village. And if you remember back in the day where Victoria Station restaurant was, and then later on the steakhouse that was there afterwards, approximately in that place, across from the CVS now, if you come out of the CVS driveway, that plot of land was originally going to be swapped to the Whippany Fire Company, with the fire company property going to Whippany Village. Well, after many years of negotiation and no progress, the fire company actually abandoned that plan. But in the meantime, around 2009, we hired an architect which began design work on the new firehouse. We applied for a FEMA grant, we applied for a Homeland Security grant, and we investigated with the Board of Fire Commissioners the issuance of bonds at that time to cover the project, and also private financing. It was deemed at that time that the most best route for the taxpayers in Hanover Township, Whippany Fire District, was to pursue private financing. 2014, after abandoning the land swap agreement, we purchased property on Troy Hills Road, formerly known as the Glory property, for $1.2 million. And then the fire company began redesigning its project to be able to fit across the street on a much larger piece of land that the fire company would own as a part of being a part of Whippany Village. Also in 2014, Whippany Fire Company contracted with a commercial real estate broker to begin marketing the sale of the old Whippany Firehouse building. We also executed a commercial construction loan agreement with what is now Provident Bank for approximately $3.2 million to fund the project. Until the loan was converted to a full mortgage, we were paying interest-only payments of about $12,000 a month while we were under construction. 2015, we received bids for construction of the new firehouse. The lowest responsible bid was $4.6 million, and it was way over our budget. So we began what's called a value engineering project. So what that means is you take things out that you don't think you need right away until you get the project down to a cost that you can afford. And that's what we did. By value engineering the project, and taking out things that would be deferred for a later date, we began construction. And construction went on until about 2016 when we converted our construction loan to a commercial mortgage for $3.2 million, where the monthly mortgage payment's about $17,570 approximately. Interest rate at the time was 4.3% on that loan. 2017, we signed a contract with the developer for the sale of the old firehouse for $999,999. That contract is still in force, and our developer is about to go before the planning board, hopefully within the next month, for approvals to put what we understand will be a Starbucks on that property. 2017 was also the year in which we began to have issues with our builder. As many of you witnessed over the time, the building took extraordinarily long time to construct. There were many issues with the contractor, many issues with his subcontractors, and many issues with the work being done at the site. After some lengthy negotiations, the contractor in 2017 notified us he was terminating us and leaving the project. That started a series of litigation. He sued us, we sued him. From 2017 to today, beginning of this year in 2019, those issues were being litigated